I am so excited that we are live today talking about one of my absolute favorite topics in the whole world, serving my favorite people in the whole world, which are freelancers. Today, we're going to talk about how to generate six figures as a freelancer without working 80 hours per week. We're going to dive into the high ticket mindset, why everything you've learned about working with clients is totally wrong and setting you up for failure. We're going to talk about number two, the expert framework, what the experts know that you don't yet. Write that word down, yet, that allows them to grow their revenue faster. And number three, how to screw hustle, forget it forever, and get the results that you want without working evenings or weekends. Guys, I'm super excited that you are here because we're going to have a really good time. I'm going to ask some interesting questions, but a few important things. There may be some things that I will share that could be triggering, or it might bring up some insecurities. Who here's ever watched a training and you're like, yep, that's totally happened. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's almost like that sinking feeling in your stomach because suddenly you're experiencing that expansion of your comfort zone and that expansion of what you know. It's going to be really, really cool. But if something is triggering for you, I want you to actually write it down and double star it because oftentimes it's right around our triggers that we find the greatest opportunities to learn. The next thing I want to share, and this is big, is sometimes we attach stories to things. For example, sometimes we say, oh, I can't do this because I don't have a degree. I can't do this because I live in Minnesota. I can't do this because, and we attach these things that are simply just not the same. I learned this concept from my friend Annie Grace. And who here, by the way, who here totally knows what I'm talking about? Something's happened and you've attached a story that's unrelated. Drop a yes if that is you. I got a little Boise cough this morning, so it's kind of fun. Okay, so here's the thing. If I share something and the old stories come into your head, the old stories of that's just for some people. There's no way that I can do that. You don't understand, Rachel. I am not the most talented person in the world. I want you to recognize that these two are not the same. The truth is, the most talented rarely win. So, for example, if that type of story comes up, I want you to recognize these two things are not the same, but I've attached them sometimes inaccurately. And you can, who here says, yep, I can totally see where that has set me back. I can totally see where that's been holding me back. I've been attaching a story to something that's completely not true. They're not the same. So when you find yourself attaching stories, I want you to say, up until this point, I thought this. And today I'm going to draw a line in the sand and recognize that it's time for some new, better stories. Drop that yes if you're excited about this. Now, one real fast thing, if you want to criticize someone, don't. This isn't the place. We're going to create a safe place for learning and for growing today. Cool. So if you're like, Rachel, you look really tired. Yes, I have not had coffee yet. But this is not the place to criticize someone. You don't have to like me. You don't have to hang out here. Totally fine. But what we're not going to tolerate is people being rude in the comments. Cool. And the last thing I want to share is that at the end of this, I actually have a really, really cool gift for you, a little bonus. So if you stay with me until the end, I'll drop it live. Who here says, I am all here for this bonus? I'm so excited to see exactly what it is. We're going to have a good time. All right. There is a common enemy of freelancers. I know that I've experienced it, and I'm willing to bet that you might have too. Who here has ever slowed down because of the voices in your head? The voices of doubt, the voices of fear, the voices of be humble, the voices of money is the root of all evil, the voices of you're not worth charging high ticket pricing. Who here says, I totally know exactly what you're talking about? Those voices have held me back. And no, I'm not talking like a bunch of actual voices talking in your head, but rather these ideas or these thoughts that maybe this isn't for us. Maybe that's just for the smartest people or the most talented people or the most qualified people. I real fast want to draw a line in the sand for us today because sometimes we think that doubt is just this normal thing, and we actually, believe it or not, believe doubt. Wait a second, catch what I just threw down. We sometimes choose to actually believe doubt. But I want you to imagine if you were walking down the street and someone were to say to you, a total stranger, "I don't like your shirt." You wouldn't listen to them, would you? You'd be like, "I don't know you. I don't care. Like, you don't have to like my shirt. I like my shirt." It would be the weirdest thing. I want you to imagine, though, that the voices of doubt are literally like a stranger coming up to you and trying to tell you something with no idea about who the heck you are, what you are deserving of, what you are worthy of, and what your background is, where you come from, what your personality is. You actually have permission to walk away from doubt and say, "You don't know me." Drop that in the chat. Doubt does not know me. I'm not going to take advice from doubt. I'm not going to go there. Now, the interesting thing about doubt is it can keep us from so much, and we'll talk about that more in just a moment. But who here says, "This is totally me"? Sometimes people say, like, "Get out of my head, Rachel. How did you know?" Doubt is lying to us all of the time. And one of the biggest goals I have for you today, and I hope that you have for yourself, is that we can challenge doubt, get aligned on a common goal, and really and truly take on bigger things. Who here says, "I know I'm in the right place"? Oh, you guys, this is going to be so great. All right. If we finish fast, we'll have some time for questions at the end. We'll just see because I have to go pack up and go to the airport so I can go home to my babies. Okay. So real fast, I want you to close distractions because we're going to dive in pretty deep. You may want to have a pen and paper or at least like notes up on your computer so you can take notes as we go. Can I real fast? Is it okay with you guys if I just share my backstory since we're going to spend some time together today? Because I think it's pretty important. 11 years ago, I was actually a single mom on welfare. Who here says, "Yep, I know that kind of journey. I have been through some stuff in my life"? Who here says, "Yes, I get that. I understand a challenging journey"? 11 years ago, I was a single mom on welfare and food stamps. I grew up in like toggling back and forth between poverty. Anyone else who here says, "Yep, that's me"? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And so what's interesting is the upbringing I grew up in did not give me the right stories, the right beliefs, the right attitudes, the right action steps in order to build what we've built today. And what's so interesting is when I look at our journey, just 11 years later, we own two multi seven figure companies. So we work with clients in freelancing and semi agency style. We've built that up to multiple seven figures. And our education business, we've built to multiple seven figures. I still work with the dreamiest clients in the whole world today. I will never teach you anything that I don't know. Anyone say, "I appreciate that"? You're like, "Yes, I hate when people teach me how to do something they're not actually doing." I don't know about you, but that is a huge pet peeve for me. I can't stand when people teach me things that they don't actually do. You've got to walk the walk and talk the talk. If you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk, right? So, what's so interesting though is it's been a wild journey. So many times, let me know if this relates to you, by the way. So many times we look at people's journeys and what we see is like this, right? Ever look at anyone else's journeys? Who's watched other people go and get exactly what you want? And you're like, "I've watched other people do it." And I'm like, "What the heck? If they can do it, they're not even that smart. If they can do it, maybe I can." So this is what we think growth looks like. But this is just a small sample of what growth actually feels like. This is more like this. So every single day we're experiencing, "Oh my gosh, I got a client lead. Oh no, they ghosted me," right? "Oh my gosh, I signed a client. Oh no, my first client left," right? There are so many more ups and downs than anyone realizes. And I'm going to share some of these stories today because this is the reality of building a business. And when we expect it to just be this perfect, smooth, always growing process, always thriving, always winning, That is setting you up for failure 100%. Who here says, I had a feeling? Like, I've seen people only share the wins, I've seen people only share the highlights. And I've wondered, am I the only one who's having setbacks? No, I'm going to tell you so many stories and so many things that have supported me with growth, because this is really and truly what it looks like and feels like on a day to day basis. Okay. Oh, so good. All right. So now, since that time, over the last 11 years, we've had some incredible results. We have helped our clients go viral. We have helped our clients grow their revenue. We've worked with clients such as Dean Graciosi, ClickFunnels, Lionsgate, Code Red. I've done partnerships with Vistaprint and American Express and Square. So many amazing things have happened. But the single most important thing that you need to recognize is that the path that we are currently on is the result of what we have learned up until this point. The actions that we are choosing each and every day are the result of the beliefs that we have entertained and nurtured. And for many of us, I don't know about you, but like I look at so many of the beliefs that I was given before building this business, the usual ones. What have you guys heard? Like money doesn't grow on trees. 90% of small businesses fail. What else? What else? Drop them in the chat. And who here says, yep, I totally get this. And so this one perspective of realizing that in order for me to get something I had never gotten, I needed to do something. I needed to believe something. I needed to choose something completely different. Who here says, I actually need this today? If you keep doing the same thing you've always done, you have a predictable pattern, which produces a predictable outcome. If you keep doing the thing you've always done, you will keep getting the results you've always gotten. And that was a big shift for me multiple times across my business growth. Now, the other thing that's really neat, there have been some really cool wins. For example, we've paid off over $100,000 in personal debt. Who here says that's something I want? I want to be able to pay off debt. I want to be able to grow. I want to go after my dreams. We've been able to hire my in-laws full time. And I know some of you guys are watching and you say, I have that vision. That's a part of my why. I want to be able to hire family or friends, or maybe some of you guys actually say, I don't want to be able to hire family and friends. I just want to be able to hire people. No family and friends allowed. But some of you guys are saying that why is huge. It's part of the reason why you're here. And it's a really powerful thing. And some of you guys are like, you know what? I just don't want to struggle the same way financially ever again. And some of you may say, I want to be able to buy the things I want. I want the experiences I want to be able to travel and do the things that I desire. That is also a noble and worthy cause. I've retired my husband. Anyone say, that's me. I want to be able to retire my significant other or my partner, at least if they want to. All right. So one quick question for you guys. I need to just quick get a temperature check. All right. Where are you at with clients? Drop a 1 if you are brand new with no clients yet. Drop a 2 if you have 1 to 3 clients. And drop a 3 if you have 4 or more clients. Okay, beautiful. Yep. Okay, I see William says 1. Motivated Success says 1. Amanda says 2. Beautiful. Carol says 1. Namita says 2. Okay, so good, you guys. All right. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to be super transparent with you. This has been a lot of hard work. And I know you guys had a sneaking suspicion that it was going to be a lot of hard work. But if you're willing to do the work and work a little differently, as we'll talk about in a moment, if you're willing to do the work in a way that others aren't willing to now, you can live a life that others can only dream of in the future. So let's dive on in to strategy number 1, the high ticket mindset. Okay. Now, here's the thing, you guys. I grew my business pretty quickly. I do things fast. I've always done things fast. I'm not the most patient person in the world, and I'm willing to bet actually some of you guys are the same way too. Drop a yes if that's you. Say, "Yep, that's me." So I grew my business to six figures within my first year of building it, and I recognize that that is not normal for most people, or at least at that time, that was not normal for people. And we'll talk more about how things have shifted. Okay. But we didn't stop there. We continued to grow, and within 3 years, we had done $1 million in our business. Just about 1.5 years later, we were doing $1 million per year in just our client work. But you know how sometimes you get something good, but you kind of have that sneaking feeling like that, like you don't deserve it? Do you guys you know that feeling, right? Sometimes you have that sneaking feeling you don't deserve it, and it creeps in really funny ways. For example, you get that really cool opportunity. Maybe it's a promotion, maybe it's a big client, maybe it's a huge opportunity. And whatever happens, you almost like sabotage it, right? You almost like find a way to like mess it up and go back to normal, go back to baseline. Because the truth is, without mindset, we are taking action steps that are not aligned with where our operating system can support us. Now, who's seen the movie Inception? In the movie Inception, in the movie, Leo goes into a dream. This isn't a huge spoiler, so don't worry too much if you haven't seen it. But Leo goes into his dream with the dream architect. And the dream architect starts fashioning all these crazy cool things, and she's architecting this dream, and she builds these buildings that are wild and crazy and folds the city in half. And he says, you need to calm down, stop, because if you change too many things, they're going to attack you, the people in the dream. And she says, why would they do that? He says, that's my subconscious, and when things change too much, they recognize there's an enemy, there's an intrusion, hint hint hint, doubt. And what happens is they in this movie, they actually attack the two people in the dream who are architecting something different. So if you've ever taken action steps and felt like, I don't know if I can do this, and you felt doubt creep in and you backed away from opportunities, or maybe you had one particular opportunity where you just kept messing up, it's because action without mindset isn't substantiated. So what happens is if we build something bigger than what we've experienced in the past, our subconscious mind, which is, by the way, the part of our brain that's like operating when we're not actively thinking, our subconscious mind is actually going to intentionally attack what we've just built. And I'm willing to bet some of you guys have actually experienced this. I've experienced this without a doubt. So we're going to break down some of the different ways to tap into a different mindset. Okay. So many people say, and maybe it's just doubt, but some people say, don't charge too much. Who's ever heard like my prices are too high? Maybe it was from doubt, the thoughts in your head. Maybe it was from clients. Maybe it was from prospective clients. They say not to charge too much. Well, what they're trying to do is keep you in the old model. And we can move into the new model when we are supported by mindset. And in order to be able to charge clients high ticket prices, we have to back it up with a high ticket mentality. Okay. Now, here's a line that changed my life forever. You will never make or keep more than you believe you deserve. By the way, who's getting some ahas? If you get ahas, feel free to drop AHA, aha, in the chat. You will never make or keep more than you believe you deserve. I've been lately on this kick of studying lottery winners. Who here buys lottery tickets? I always think it's just a fun, like, I like lottery tickets. I don't buy them every week, but I just always think, like, why not? $1. If it happens, it happens. Amazing. But I've been studying why is it that so many lottery winners go broke? It's 70%. And the funny part is you and but you are thinking, I would like a turnstile. I would like to try it. I would like to win the lottery because I wouldn't make the mistakes that those people made. Who's had that thought? Let's be honest for a second, right? We literally we almost like say those lottery winners were just not being smart with their money, right? But the truth is, you guys, their mindset hadn't backed them up to a place where they could justify. Their subconscious mind could not justify the idea that they had that they deserved that money. So anyone can teach you, like, okay, here's what to do. I love teaching people that you can do it, but if you don't step into the mindset that you actually deserve it, you will continually sabotage it. So when doubt comes in about charging clients high ticket pricing, we have to first and foremost approach our mindset. Dr. Mel Robbins said, each time you have the feeling that you should raise your prices and you don't act on that, you're proving to yourself that your instincts aren't worth listening to. Say it one more time. Dr. Mel Robbins said, each time you have the feeling that you should raise your prices and you don't act on that, you're proving to yourself that your instincts aren't worth listening to. Now, this is an interesting scope or a lens of looking at freelancers and the way that they charge. I know a lot of clients who think this. I know that I think this way. Tell me what you charge, and I'll tell you exactly where your mindset is at. Who's getting those ahas? You're like, dang, oh, shoot, this is me, right? Okay, so everything we've learned about working with clients is literally setting you up for failure. And here's the thing, a lot of people say, oh, no, 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 it's going to be fine. I'll just take on a couple clients at high ticket or low ticket prices and just get what I can. Who here resonates with that? Like, you have just done the charge what you can model. The old model is charge what you can. And what blows my mind is recognizing the fact who's already getting some serious value because you're like, dude, I haven't really thought about these things lately. Or maybe I've had a sneaking suspicion, but I needed to hear this. Okay. So here's what blows my mind. You ready for this? We all think like, oh, just charge what you can, and down the road, you'll get higher ticket clients. But what we don't realize is when you charge a client not enough, and I'm just going to be honest, $300, $500 a month is not enough. Okay. And in case you say, but Rachel, for what services? Pretty much all, unless you're a hairstylist. Truthfully, you need to be charging more than $300 to $500 a month. So we'll just go by 500 because it's like easier for math anytime I do it. Okay. So we secure a client at $500 a month and we're thrilled because some money is better than no money, right? Right. So what happens, and this is what blows people's minds. A lot of people think that if you work with low ticket clients and you don't charge them a lot, they're going to be easier clients, right? Actually, the clients who have less budget to spend and who invest less are going to try to squeeze every last little penny and ounce of energy out of you because their business is not set up to the place where they can afford you not performing at 120%. By the way, who here is getting some of the breakthrough already? Because you're like, well, that makes sense. I've experienced this. I've lived this. Okay. So what happens is this client starts micromanaging you. Extra calls, impromptu calls, extra emails, back and forth, revisions, a bajillion and one things. Who here says, absolutely, I have been here. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep, you've got it. All right. So this client starts micromanaging and taking up a ton of your time. And if you were to actually calculate the math at this point, this client is costing you more than if you were to like literally go get like a close to minimum wage job. Okay. And then you lose a client, right? You're stressed. You're not performing at your best. You're exhausted. You're working so much. You lose a client, and then doubt starts to kick in. Now, this is the place where we are able to break the cycle for good. But what's interesting is what happens when you go into the cycle of doubt. This is the old model. We actually, instead of questioning, is this system working? Is this system broken? We question ourselves and we reduce our prices because now it's, I just need a couple clients. I need to replace the client that left. I need to, and it keeps getting worse. Who here says, I see myself in that diagram? It's almost painful to see it mapped out, isn't it? But today we have the ability to break through this right here and stop that cycle forever. Whoa, right? Now, here's an interesting thing. I worked as a hairstylist for years. Who else has worked in the service industry? I worked as a hairstylist for years. And when you first work as a hairstylist, you take clients at the hair school, and haircuts are like $15 or $25 or whatever at that point. And the interesting thing is, you would think like cheap clients, low expectations. Exactly the opposite. The clients who came in there expected the best haircuts ever. And they were so picky and they were so angry, not recognizing that the people in that school were not experts. We were learning. Uh, but when I raised my rates, so for example, when I was doing a full color and balayage and charging hundreds of dollars, when my clients came in for extensions and paid $1,600, guess what happened? Every single client was lower maintenance. What? How is that possible? Okay, are you ready? When you charge low prices, you attract scarcity mindset and lack. When you charge low ticket prices, you attract scarcity and lack. So even if you're working on your own mindset, those clients, scarcity and lack, not tapping into abundance, not recognizing that money is everywhere, not recognizing that there's an opportunity for all of us to grow. And we don't have to micromanage people, that is for sure. We can sometimes be lowered to their level of belief. Whoa. And I can confirm to you that when I worked with clients at $500, $600 a month, they were a lot tougher than when I started charging my clients $113,000 to $247,000. We have more fun with high ticket clients. Their level of belief is there, and they don't micromanage. Drop an aha if you're like, oh, dang, I feel so seen or so called out today. We're having a good time though, right? You doing pretty good? Okay. Now, here's the thing that you have to recognize, because who here's ever been told, and I know some of you guys have been, who here's ever been told your prices are too high? You got to lower your prices. I want a discount. I can't afford that. You guys know this, right? Like, you've experienced this, and it is not fair. All right. So I want to shift a mentality for you real fast. Your prices are not too high. That's just the wrong market. If someone says your prices are too high at $1,000 per month, that person has never looked at salaries for a VP of marketing or a full-time social media manager who has skills. That person has not gone into an expansion mindset. You guys getting the getting the ahas? It's so wild. Okay. Now, real fast, I want to point out one thing that's huge, because sometimes, and who here knows, I put out a lot of tutorials on the how-tos and the step-by-steps and action steps. I love to put out that stuff. But today we're talking about something in particular that is actually fundamentally more important. If you build a house on a cracked foundation, you know what's going to happen. You're going to have to replace so much. It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars of repair. The same house built on two different foundations has a drastically different result. The foundation is mindset. Now, if you're anything like me, and I'm willing to bet some of you guys are, you hear mindset and you kind of like roll your eyes a little bit, right? You're like, Not mindset again. This is so woo-woo-y, right? Like you've done this. Who here says, "Yep, that's me. I've done that." Okay, so I tried to do it first and foremost without mindset. And I've shared this story before, but essentially, without mindset, everything is harder. Everything without a doubt. Woo! Right? Oh man. Okay. Now here's the thing. If you were to walk, or let's actually name someone. I always hate thinking of names because I don't want to say anyone's name that's on this training. But let's just come up with a name. Let's just do Jane. Okay. So Jane walks into a Rolls-Royce dealership and she looks in there and she goes, "Wow, this place is great. I got free water, I got coffee, I got cookies, I got what?" And they all just called me ma'am and they were like opening doors for me and all this. This is what I like. Okay. And she gets in a car and she test drives it and has everything she's ever wanted. And Jane says, "I want this car. I want this car." And the dealer says to her, "That's a $250,000 car." If Jane were to say, "That's too much," is Rolls-Royce going to lower their prices to meet her? No. They would say, and no shade at Toyota, they would say, "Hey, Jane, this is Rolls-Royce. We know our prices are high and we stand by them because they're the right price for the right market. The right client recognizes the value in high prices." They would probably say, "Hey, Jane, this probably isn't a good fit for you, but there's a Toyota down the street." And that's not shade, it's just honest. That's going to be a better fit. Now, here's the thing. We have a hard time with this idea of, what if my prices aren't too high? What if your prices aren't too high? What if your dream prices aren't too high? What if you've just been putting it in front of the wrong people? We go after these like startups and solopreneurs and we want to help everyone, and this person will say like, "I have this, craft shop and I'm really passionate about it, but it doesn't make a lot of money." Okay, that's great. And I'm happy to help you with free tutorials and trainings, but you're just not my right market. What if we adopted that mentality instead? But in order for us to do that, we have to recognize that there is money in abundance all around us. Now, I'm going to share this. Anyone grow up in a less than wealthy neighborhood? Anyone not really know any rich or wealthy people until you were a lot older? I'm raising like both hands. Right? Okay. So when we grow up in an environment where we don't believe that there's a lot of opportunity, abundance, and money around us, we think from a scarcity lens. And what's interesting about that is I had to look this up. Okay, are you ready? Just in the United States alone, there are 26 million millionaires. 26 million millionaires. That right there might be the aha some of you guys needed. We don't need to put our services in front of people who simply aren't able to afford them. When we can get in front of dream clients who have a budget, who know value when they see it, and are willing to act like a true business owner. Business owners invest. Who here's getting that aha? Because you're like, "Oh, dang, it's pretty wild." All right. Now, what's interesting about this cycle is, question for you guys. Do you think that in this cycle, your quality of work improves or declines when you're in the old model? Do you think that over time it keeps getting better, or do you think it keeps getting worse? So you're continually lowering your prices. You're continually experiencing doubt. You're continually being micromanaged. If you're anything like me, I don't do well in an environment where I am being micromanaged. I don't do well with that, right? So our quality of work declines, and this creates a cycle that further undermines our wealth. And some of you guys are actually experiencing it now. And so what happens is we have to actually look at this old model, this paradigm, and say, you know what? I can't work myself into a better space with this old model. So I'm going to choose to reject it. If you reject this old model, I want you to drop in the comments, I choose the new model. I choose the new model. I reject the old model. This isn't going to work for me. No way, Jose. So what happens, my very first client in social media was charging me $15 an hour, and I was working around the clock testing and trying, but they only counted the time spent on actual performance. Side note, this is why I'm really passionate about not charging hourly. The result, $75 to $150 per paycheck. At that rate, I would be capping out at $30,000 per year. So starting today, just because you're here, you are accepting the new model. And I'll talk about the new identity that comes with the new model. All right. Your new baseline for your services is $1,000 per month. No ifs, ands, or buts. In fact, over time, you want to work on your mindset consistently, actively, and get your prices to the point where you can charge $2,500, $3,500, $4,500 a month. We have charged between $6,500 and $12,500 per month for a very, very, very long time. But here's the thing that I need you to recognize is that this is one of the single best systems to support a healthy business that actually delivers results for clients. I've tried this model. I can tell you straight up. Some of you guys have tried this. This model's broken, right? The model's broken. If you know, you are experiencing this right now. Because when we do some of the math, and we'll do this in a moment, this continually caps us out. It's actually worse than dollars for hours, because once we break down all the math, we're working 20, 50 hours for each client at $500 or $300 a month. That will not work. It's not sustainable. So what I've created is a sustainable business model based on studying my mentors, the people I admire in the space, looking at my business, the areas where we've made mistakes and failed. And I've learned a lot of things the hard way, usually so you don't have to, which is awesome. You're welcome. But what's interesting about this new model is I've literally trained and supported tens of thousands of freelancers in switching to a different model. And I've discovered that all of the ones who get the success that they want are really and truly, they start out here. Once they have that aha moment, who's getting that aha moment, by the way? They start out here and then they get into this sweet spot here. And here's why. Because when you charge these prices, when you believe that you are deserving of those prices, when you are willing to adopt the high ticket mindset, what happens is now you only need 3 to 5 clients to hit 10K months. Who here says that feels a lot more doable than the other model? When I started working with Kaylin, inside of the social click, she was charging $300 to $400 per month per client. And she kept capping out over and over at $3,000 to $4,000 per month and working way too many hours per week. And when we did the math, and we'll talk about the math in just a second, because it is important to recognize, especially as a freelancer, so we're not just throwing spaghetti at walls. But we did the math and realized she wasn't going to be able to get to 10K months. It was physically impossible because the old model had set her up to fail. Today, she's working less. She pretty quickly hit a 7K month with ease. And now she charges $10,000 to $20,000 every single month. Drop an aha if that is inspiring you and you see it, you're getting it, you're recognizing it, you're experiencing the aha of why it is it feels like there's continually a glass ceiling, right? Oh, okay. Mary was charging $500 and $700 to $750 per month per client. Now she sends out $1,500 to $2,500 proposals. I remember her actually sending out, I think it was like a $5,000 or a $7,000 client per month. And she built a six-figure business working 20 to 30 hours per week. Drop an aha if that inspires you. Let's go to strategy number 2. Who here loved strategy number 1? By the way, drop I will if you are going to adopt this mentality. Because if what you've been doing hasn't been working, it's time to do something different. Okay. Woo! I'm having some fun. All right. I'm going to share one more thing that's big. You do not deliver more at these prices. Drop an aha if that's clicking for you. You do not deliver more at these prices. But now you're able to deliver better because you have peace, you have space, you have margin. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay. All right. Strategy number 2. See, that's the part that trips people up. Some of us believe what we're going to break down in strategy number 3. And we'll talk about why it is that more work isn't always the answer. Who here's excited? And I'm so excited for you guys to get the bonus at the end. Okay. I'm going to have to order some coffee soon. Whew. Okay. Strategy number 2, the expert framework. So many of us think that charging high ticket pricing, and by the way, this isn't even crazy high ticket pricing. Charging high ticket pricing is only for the experts. Okay, but who are the experts? We think becoming an expert and being able to charge high ticket pricing is a lofty goal, like one that we all hope to achieve one day. In fact, I'm willing to bet some of you are listening and you're like, man, I can't wait to get to that point. Someday I'm so excited for that. Sorry, did I hop in anyone's brain? You were like, in 1 to 3 years, I'll be ready for this. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's dive on in. When I first became a social media manager, it was completely by accident. I was giving highlights. I was actually one of the best blonders around. Anyone here a high maintenance blonde? So you know what I mean when I say I love high maintenance blondes because it's a high maintenance I understand. Okay, so when Jeannie came into my chair, it was a different day. A stylist had called up sick, and Jeannie came in, and she was a first-time guest to that salon. And she sat down, and we just started talking. I was very pregnant, and we started talking about business, talking about social media. And she said, "Do you do social media?" And I said, "Yeah, I post some stuff on social, and every time I post, it just seems like magically clients come in." And we just started talking about it. And Jeannie actually looks at me and she says, "I think I'd like to hire you to help us with some of our marketing." Okay, can I just real fast? You know when those type of conversations happen and we self-disqualify, like, but I'm not an expert, but I'm not Amy Porterfield. I'm not Rachel Peterson. I don't have 1 million followers or 2 million or whatever. We self-disqualify and we say, I don't have the right credentials. I don't have the right degree. I don't have enough experience. Blah. Okay. We oftentimes self-disqualify before the opportunity even comes. Now, here's what blows my mind. All right. I actually have a story that you might really, really deeply relate to. So we were looking for a book launch strategist to help us with our book launch. We're published through Hay House, okay? And I know some of you guys will relate to this because you will see yourself in this story and you'll be like, dang. Real fast, Carrie, pause on that until the end because I'm going to share one thing that's really, really, really important about that, okay? Actually, you know what? I'll share it now so I don't forget. When you try to take a client from the old model to the new model, it very rarely works. So only try to take a client from the old model to the new model if you are okay with losing any client that you present it to. Because trying to sell a Toyota owner a Rolls Royce is gonna be really challenging, or telling someone you used to pay the price of a Toyota and now you have to pay the price of a Rolls Royce, it very rarely works. Mostly because, do you guys ever have people do you ever have people where they don't see your growth, whether it's friends or family or people that you knew in high school? And it's almost like they don't ever allow you to grow or change or evolve. They still see you as with the old lens. Who here knows what I'm talking about? Like people almost try to keep you in the box of who you used to be. And we don't have to do that. But when our clients see us as a low ticket service provider, a low ticket freelancer, it is very, very, very difficult to get them to see us with a different lens. Does it happen sometimes? Yes. For really mature business owners who are most likely established, they're going to respect it and say, that's fantastic. Who's getting this aha? I'm glad we went down this tangent. Because the truth is, people who were able to experience you at an extremely discounted rate from your worth are very rarely going to support your growth into charging and expecting what you're worth. So the people who benefited from you having too low of prices, not having boundaries, working all hours of the day for you, they are the ones who have benefited from you not adopting the new model. They're the ones who benefit from you staying in the old model. Now, some clients will be able to make this shift, but don't send out price raising stuff to all your old clients until you're ready to recognize that many of them or all of them might leave. Who here is getting this aha? Because this is the game changer. People want you to stay as you always were. And very few clients are comfortable with price increases, but rather what we can do is say, up until this point, I didn't charge enough. You can say this, up until this point, I didn't charge enough. But moving forward, I'm only going to be working with clients who pay me according to the new model. Okay. So pretty cool. Okay. Let's keep going. So Jeannie asks me to be their marketing director. Okay. We go to their dinner. I was not an expert, you guys. I was a college dropout. I had very little experience in marketing. The only thing I really knew was that if I posted stuff on social, stuff seemed to work. Who here's like, dude, I totally feel that way. I feel like such an imposter. I don't feel like the expert. I know, like, technically I should say I'm the expert, right? So what's so interesting is we think that we have to wait until we're an expert to be able to charge high ticket. But what if you've been looking at it wrong? What if you actually already are a lot more of an expert than you think you are? I'm gonna sneeze. Achoo. Achoo. The system tells us you have to wait until you have 10 years of experience, right? Just look at what everyone's trying to demand from hiring today. By the way, you can choose if your mindset, if you have support systems, accountability, and continual mindset work. Thanks, guys. That's how you can tell it's live, right? You can actually skip this phase. So, for example, sometimes people say you have to experience the bad to appreciate the good, but I actually think we can get really damaged in the bad, and it can actually be frustrating in the good. The carry out of that. Does that make sense? I used to think like, oh, the only reason I appreciate Paul so much as my husband is because I experienced so many bad relationships for that. But when I shift the focus and I think about my kids, so like instead of thinking about you, think about your kids, or think about your niece or your nephew or your friend's kids. And I realized, like, wait a second, if they were to ask me, so do I have to start with the bad system before I can go to the good one? I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, skip that, drop it. Like, let's just actually like forget it, because this sucks. And this will continue to make you question your doubt, your worth, your expertise. I would say that to my children. And I would say, you do not need to date jerks before you will appreciate a good person. Okay? You do not need to stay in that model. And from the get-go, you can choose. You literally can choose. You know what? I know that this is what people say. I know that this is what the system says. I know this is what these 3 last prospects said. But I'm going to choose to listen to Rachel and trust that she knows what she's talking about and she has my best interest in mind. Okay? All right. You have permission to do this immediately, but it will be challenging if your mindset is not supported. If your mindset does not support the change, just like in the dream of inception, by the way, I recommend watching it again, especially after this. You will continually self-sabotage, step away from opportunities. This is why we're talking a lot about mindset a lot more, because anyone can teach you how to get clients, but not everyone can teach you how to do it in a sustainable, supported way with high ticket prices, charging what you deserve and backing it up with the mindset of, you know what? I deserve this, because you do. Whew. We're getting intense. Either I have allergies or a cold is coming on. Darn it. Oh, well. Okay. I'm still here. Oh, well. All right. So, what if I told you that you do not have to be an expert to me, but you can be an expert to someone today? Don't compare yourself to me. I've been in this for 7 years, studying nonstop, reading a bajillion books. Like, don't compare yourself to anyone, but you can be an expert to someone. So while I was a hairstylist, pregnant, no degree, very little experience, being like, I don't know if I should say yes to this because is that irresponsible? The truth is, I was really, really good at Google. I got really resourceful during that season. And I knew that if I didn't help her, she was gonna have to pay someone to come on in. And I couldn't guarantee that the next person would care as much as I do. The truth is, you are already an expert to someone, as long as you don't compare yourself to other experts, because it's not a competition. Now, in experts charge what they're worth. They make recommendations and they invest in their learning and skill set. I'll say it again. Experts charge what they're worth. They make recommendations. I might even add, without apology, with certainty, and invest in their learning. Keep dropping those ahas if they're coming in for you guys, okay? Albert Einstein once said that if a person were to study a topic, their topic of choice, for 1 year, for just 15 minutes a day, within 1 year, they are considered an expert. And with just 15 minutes a day of study for 5 years, they will be considered a national expert. Now, I used to doubt this, but I've been doing this for 7 years. I can confirm this is absolutely true. So, question for you. You're already learning more than 15 minutes a day, aren't you? If I were to guess, I'm willing to bet the hardest part is turning off learning and studying. The hardest part is not going down the rabbit hole of, "Oh, I've got so much curiosity. I've got shiny object syndrome. I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing." I'm willing to bet that most of you guys are spending more than that time and have been for a while. Who here just got the big aha? You're already an expert, but not necessarily to everyone. That's okay. You don't have to come on here and teach me a bunch of stuff about social media. That's okay. I do still learn things, I'll be honest, all the time, every day. But you don't have to be the foremost expert to me or Gary Vee or anyone like that. But you are already an expert. And some of you guys are realizing, I already am a national expert. Right now, your services and expertise are the answers to someone's prayers. I'm going to share one more line of that because I just love this so much. If I cry, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I do it sometimes, a lot. It's been a really big week, and I don't think I've gotten enough sleep because I've been like learning and growing and masterminding and getting advice from my mentor. And okay. This one shift has the power to change everything for you. Selling is a form of service. Selling to people is serving them deeply. Sales don't have to be icky. Sales don't have to be pushy. Sales don't have to be gross or slimy. It can be as simple as saying, you know what? I can be an expert for that person. I can help them. And I know you care. Who cares here? You care more than many of your competitors. You care more than many of the people on Fiverr and Upwork. Have you guys ever talked to a client who's been scammed or ghosted by someone after they received payment? When you are an expert and you care about people deeply, you will recognize that you are the answer to someone's prayers. But not only that, by not selling them, they have to go find someone else. And they don't know if that person's going to care or have integrity. If you have integrity, selling people is service. If you care. All right. Now, here's the thing. I really, truly believe, I've experienced, I've noticed, I've watched, I've studied. I bet you've seen this too. In my belief, so many people don't realize this, but the system of education, career, and climbing the corporate ladder has set us up for failure. And here's why. We believe that we need years of formalized knowledge and experience to be successful and able to perform our jobs and charge what we're worth. Now, here's why I have seen that to not be true. I've seen it on both ends. By the way, who here says, I've had a stinking suspicion of this? I believe it's not necessarily intentional, but the system of the education to career to climbing the corporate ladder pipeline, I really truly believe it is designed to make us forget our worth and to not feel comfortable charging and not feel comfortable making the moves that honestly serve everyone better. But I know friends with master's degrees who can't make ends meet or get a job because their degrees didn't prepare them for real life. If you agree, say yes in the chat. I know so many friends who are like, I have a master's. Are you hiring? I have a master's in marketing. Are you hiring? And it blows my mind that they're working in like retail jobs, because if that system worked, wouldn't all of them be just making a ton of money and all their student loans would be paid down? Like, wouldn't that be the thing? Instead of spending 30 years paying off something that was a 4-year decision that may or may not have improved your ability to earn? Whoa. Okay. The expert framework is not something that they will teach you in school, guaranteed. We are going to talk about the difference between two groups of people. I used to work as a server. I really loved that job. Who have you worked as a server or anyone? Okay. We've got servers and we've got this long fancy word that is sommelier. Okay. Servers show up, take the order, check in, done. It's fine. They take the order. So many people who are freelancers show up with server energy. Once again, this is a part of the old model. It doesn't work. When you are a sommelier, and for some context, by the way, sommeliers are these incredible experts in wine, like absolutely incredible. Like they can tell you, like some of them are so good, they can like swirl a glass of wine and like look at the legs on it, like, and drink it and tell you like what year and what vineyard it came from. They are so good. By the way, they only get that good through practicing, and practicing is done through hands-on application. I just want to point that out for those of you who needed that aha. Okay. Sommeliers do something different. They follow a 6-step system. So a server is going to come to your table and you're going to say, okay, I really want the salmon and I want a Coors Light. And the server says, okay, great. And then they walk away, right? And they go, that's weird. Why would you have Coors Light with a salmon? But whatever. A sommelier comes over to your table and says, I noticed that you're having the sea bass tonight. The sea bass is really delicious with the Pinot Grigio from 1973, and we have that one in our cellar today. Would you like to try it? Notice that they didn't just take whatever it was that was being given to them. Do you guys already sense this aha? Who's getting this one? You're getting this aha? Okay. They follow a six-step framework. And this is a total shift, okay? Step 1, they position themselves differently. They position themselves differently. Sometimes it's as simple as the way they carry themselves. I don't actually think that I position myself that differently as a social media manager. I just carried myself like I believed that I was deserving. Um, okay, so they position themselves. Sometimes that's how you carry yourself. Sometimes it's how you show up on social. Sometimes it's how, but they position. Okay. Step 2, they assess the situation. Okay, she's having this salmon. We know that the Cabernet is fantastic. By the way, I don't know. The Cabernet is fantastic. So number 2 is they assess. Most freelancers are missing this part. Can I just real fast share something that's kind of a saddening stat or fact? Many of the people who teach freelancers how to grow either are not freelancers currently or have never been freelancers. So the advice is based on hypothetical situations. And that can be really challenging. It's part of the reason why I will never teach anything I'm not doing. A lot of times, these gurus, and by the way, who here knows what I'm talking about? Don't drop any names, but who here knows what I'm talking about? You've seen it. People who literally, you realize that their entire business is just teaching freelancers how to grow, and they don't actually work as a freelancer. So they have no idea what's happening in this market because things do change. They teach you to send over your price sheet, put your prices on your website, to offer preset packages to clients, but don't charge too much. Drives me crazy. Okay, I'm just going to be super honest. This is what we have to shift into to shift the entire model. Okay, we position, we assess. So we show up as the expert. We choose to show up as the expert. We assess. We ask questions. Did you hear that? Some of you guys are talking way too much on discovery calls. Who here's like, oh shoot. When I take a discovery call, if it's a 30-minute call, I talk for less than 5 minutes of that entire call, and 3 of those minutes are building rapport. I've identified all of the top best questions to ask, and the entire thing is just questions, the client speaking, because I'm assessing because I am the expert. You are the expert. Drop it in the chat. I am the expert. Do you guys sense that shift, that difference? And I'm just a mom from Minnesota with 3 kids. Like, I'm just going to be honest. These things I had to learn and spend so much time developing. Drop it in the chat. I am the expert. You know who charges high ticket prices? Experts. We've already identified that you're an expert. So I want to see all 75 of you guys. I know there's like probably, I think 50 on YouTube and 25 on Facebook. I want you to drop I am the expert in the chat, because some of you have had a hard time sharing that. And this is where I get really passionate because I can teach you everything. But if you aren't willing to take the hand of hope and recognize that you're deserving of it right here, right now, moving forward, it's not going to click. It's not going to happen. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. And I get really passionate about this because having gone from literal poverty to multi-millions over years, I've learned so much, but I've mostly learned that there were so many times where I resisted that growth and that expansion because we think growth and expansion and strength and learning new things is meant to just feel good the whole time, and it doesn't. Who here has already been triggered today because you've been like, dang, this is calling me out. This is challenging me. This is intense, right? That is where growth occurs. It's when we do things that are not aligned with where we are today, but rather aligned with the identity that we want to step into. That is when we build the most beautiful things. We're building out right now, and this isn't about me, but a parallel. We are building out a done for you TikTok agency that I'm really, really excited about. And in order for me to build it out the way that I wanted it to look with a mega team and possibly at one point a huge office, it's going to be so fun. But I couldn't do it from the Rachel that I am today, because the Rachel that I am today has never had an 8-figure business per year. So I stepped into that new identity. So I want you to say, I step into this new identity. I am the expert. We'll keep going into this. I stepped into the identity of an 8-figure freelancer and CEO and built it according to that. But you can do the same thing today. You can do the same thing today. You can step into a new identity today and say, listen, up until this point, this isn't who I was, but I'm going to make the decisions from this point on, not based on where I am today, because I already know where that gets me, but I'm going to make decisions based on who I want to be. That is an identity shift. Okay, step 3. Oh, normally I like to get louder and louder, but there's people still sleeping. So I was like, okay, yell or whisper, whisper. Okay. Although my yelling just sounds like I'm way jazzed about life. All right, step 3 is diagnose. This is why I don't send out proposals the same day as my discovery call. I need some time to diagnose, dig deeper, get curious. An expert diagnosis. Sometimes the sommelier will go into a period of silence when they're recommending a wine. They sit and they think, because the person just told them, I don't like Pinot Grigio. Oh, okay. You have permission to sit confidently in certainty in the silence as you diagnose. I send out proposals 24 to 48 hours after a discovery call. You have permission to do this too. Okay. Step 4 is recommend. Henry Ford, the founder of cars, we've all heard of it. Henry Ford once said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. I don't ask my clients what they want. I make recommendations based on what they need. Who's getting that aha, right? I don't allow you to come to me and say, check the boxes. I want this. I want this. I want this. Yep, go for it. I will too when it's done. I don't sit back and say, all right, what do you want? And go down the line items. I'm not a server. I am a sommelier. You are a sommelier. Say, I am a sommelier. Actually, that's really hard to type. In case you're actually having that moment. You just say again, I'm the expert. I am an expert. I am an expert, okay? I make recommendations. You come to me for TikTok because you tell me none of your other social media is working. Guess what I tell you? TikTok's not the problem. It's not the platform. You're having issues with grabbing attention and messaging because I am the expert. You are the expert. Say it one more time because even though this is an energy shot of 2 hours, right? The truth is, you guys, once this ends, you're going to go back about your day. We need to intentionally reprogram some thoughts. And this is so powerful, right? Who's getting those ahas, by the way? Okay. Drop an aha if you've gotten some big time ahas. Okay. Number 5. Charge. Notice I didn't say work. Charge. You accept payment before work is to begin. Notice that there's not a second word after charge. There's not charge confidently. There's not charge uh, with certainty. There's not charge kindly. There's not charge big time. It's just charge. Sending a proposal is actually pretty neutral. It's just sending an email with some really cool letters in it. Okay? Just charge. All right? But then there's step 6. And that is never stop learning from masters at their craft. Never stop learning from masters of their craft. Notice the difference between expert and master. Someone who's achieved mastery has broken through many plateaus consistently. Any of us can be an expert to someone else, but mastery is the ability to come in and be able to see everything and know that pulling this one thread will make everything fall apart, and pulling this one thread will make everything blow up in a good way. Okay? All right. How you guys doing so far? This is pretty cool. How are you feeling? Who feels excited? Who feels good? Who feels like anxious and like ready to make this happen? Who feels hope? Who feels belief? Who feels there's a new possibility? Who here says, if Rachel could do this and she started as a single mom on welfare, I'm pretty sure I can do it. I still have no degree. If I do get a degree, it will not be in marketing. Yes, 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 yes. How do you feel? Does this feel right for you, even if it's a tough topic and a little bit triggering? Step into this new identity. All right. Now, Krista stepped fully into her expertise, and she secured an $18,000 per month client. Drop an aha if that inspires you. By the way, Krista is a copywriter in Iowa, literally in the cornfields of Iowa. So if there's a part of you that says, but this only works for people around big cities, I don't think so. Drop an aha. All right. One client, $18,000 per month. I'm going to make one key point here. By the way, Chris has been in the social clique for 4 years, which blows my mind. She didn't deliver more for $18,000 per month. Who's getting that aha? It wasn't everything in the kitchen sink and I'll come to your house and give you a back rub. It was literally the same deliverables as what she used to charge less for by utilizing the expert framework. Megan remembered her expertise when crafting a proposal. She looked at her usual package. She added 1K to her proposal and got an immediate yes. Can you imagine, you guys, if she hadn't added that, she would have never known. If you don't try something new, you'll never know. Whoa, right? Okay, who's getting the aha from Megan? Because it's huge, right? Okay, strategy number 3, how to screw hustle. And get the results you want without working evenings or weekends. If you are just a teenager, I wish I had learned this as a teenager. Oh my gosh. Except my life wouldn't be where it is today, but yes, You can totally do this as a teenager. You just don't well, I was talking to someone who, like, didn't go the traditional path at all, and they started freelancing in high school and then built a six-figure business, and they were like, "I'm just gonna skip the whole college thing because I'm making more than my friends who are going to college and all of that." All right? Okay. In my first year as a social media manager, I made $117,000. I was listening to those gurus preaching hustle. You know when you hear that? Anyone else hear that from gurus where they say straight up like, you have to hustle, you gotta work harder, you gotta, if you don't have the life it's you want, it's because you're not hustling. Who here says, yep, I know this. I've heard this. In fact, one huge influencer who I will never name, I was invited to a private event with this person, and I guarantee you that you have all heard of this person, but he said that he doesn't see his kids Monday through Friday. That's his deal because he's hustling. Monday through Friday, he doesn't see his kids. What? Okay. I'm not going to judge him, but I can straight up tell you with 100% certainty, no doubt, that's not for me. Drop not for me if that is not for you. Some of you guys are like, "Yep, I remember that time." Isn't that wild? Now, if that's what serves you, awesome. Actually, still kind of not awesome because there's some fallout of that. But if your hustle keeps you from seeing your reason for starting the hustle, you're running a broken system. If your hustle keeps you from spending time with your reason for starting the hustle, you're running a broken system. One thing I've learned, I've invested into many, many, many mentors. I've hired mentors at $30,000 per year, and I've hired mentors at $150,000 per year. Side note, it has been a huge shortcut for growth for me. I'm just going to be super honest. But I personally like to look at the lens of life and all encompassing just everything. Listening to advice from gurus whose personal lives are falling apart is a recipe for the same results. We're not even going to shame it. But if you follow a recipe that creates a result that you don't want, a recipe creates a predictable outcome. So if you are listening to and following people who say, hustle, 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 F your family, like I've actually heard one person say that. I don't see my kids. Forget your spouse. Right? You will get the same results if you follow their recipe. Because here's the truth. Working more does not equal more. Working more does not equal more money. Working more does not equal more success. Working more does not equal more fulfillment, more happiness. The truth is, you've got to work like a six-figure freelancer. Now, here's what blows my mind. Okay, ready? If having success requires me to abandon my kids, my husband, my sanity, it's a hard pass. I've tried it. It's not for me. If you agree, say yes in the chat. Now, here's the thing. If working more and harder really and truly was the path to success and everything that we want in six figures, wouldn't we know a lot more people who were getting the money, the success that they desire? I know a lot of people who work really hard and a lot who can barely make ends meet. That was my parents growing up. That was me when I had Dakota. You can work 80 to 100 hours a week and still struggle with paying for daycare. The truth is, working more does not equal making more. And I'm willing to bet you're getting the big aha right now because you've worked really hard, right? You've worked so hard and it hasn't gotten you what you wanted, right? For several different reasons. One, because you were working on a broken system. And two, because working more does not equal making more. Now let's pretend for a moment, okay? And I want to break this down in a different way because I want to make sure this clicks because this is huge. Let's pretend for a moment I was working like 40 hours per week, okay? I'm working 40 hours per week. If working more is how you make more, then in order to make $1 million per year, I would need to work 340 hours per week. You got it? Is it clicking? With that logic, to make $10 million per year, I would just have to work 3,400 hours per week. Side note, who already pulled out their calculator or Googled how many hours in a week? Here's a hint. It's not that many. And it's definitely not 3,400 per month. There would be no billionaires, okay? Time does not equal money. At least not the way that we have associated it before. Money follows value. Money follows value. Okay? Money follows value. Now, so many times we don't realize that the first place that this starts is money follows those who value themselves. Who's getting the uh-huh? You got this, right? One of the best ways to share that you value yourself is actually by working less, working smarter, not being available all the time. Anyone have that friend who always is available for a booty call? I can't believe I'm saying that in this training, but there's a reason for it. And you're like, stop it. Like, you want a relationship with this person? You got to stop being so dang available. You got to stop responding to every message. You've got to stop saying at 3 a.m., sure, I can come over. Like, you're wondering why this isn't turning into a relationship because it looks like you're not valuing yourself. Boundaries share our value, which is why we created the Business by Design. The Business by Design is getting clear and enforcing when you work, where you work, how you work, your hours, what you will tolerate, what you will not. Who's getting these ahas? Because you're like, oh, dang. I'm realizing now why I haven't gotten some of the breakthroughs that I've been wanting. Okay. Kelly built a Business by Design. She's a Facebook ad strategist. She works 30 hours per week and she makes 6 figures in her business. Drop an aha if you're inspired by Kelly. Mallory works 40 hours per week and she made $12,000 in a month. Hustle more does not equal making more. Valuing yourself more. Investing in yourself. Setting up boundaries and saying, I'm important too. Giving yourself balance. Giving yourself high ticket pricing, following the new model. That is how you share that you value yourself more. Now, this is the mind-blowing thing. In order to become a 6-figure freelancer, we have to adopt a different mentality, and that can be tough. So who's experiencing some signs of growth? I'm actually going to start calling like triggers signs of growth, at least in some situations. Who's experiencing some signs of growth? Because whoa, right? This can be difficult to hear at first, okay? Because we are so used to the old model, the old system, the old mindset. Who here is realizing that it's broken? It's not working. I can't do this, right? I'm not going to do that anymore. So what's really, really interesting, and I could break this down, but I also know that we at some point all have to go, right? But we all think that by doing and working more, we're going to get more amazing things done. Okay. There are 4 levels of value. The first level is implementation. And I'm willing to bet you're doing most of the implementation. And the clients know you're doing most of the implementation. But not only that, there's no boundaries. There's no systems to support and save you from having to work around the clock. Side note, do you guys know what a system is? A system, okay, let's grab one more piece of paper. This is why systems are so powerful. By the way, if you don't have systems in your freelancing business, you are the system and you're stuck in implementation, working more to make more. Okay. Shall I say that again? If you do not have intentional systems in your freelancing business, you are stuck in the cycle of you being the system, having to work more to make more, and you're stuck in implementation. Okay. Systems. We'll do a double S. Systems save you significant time, energy, and money. Systems save you significant time, energy, and money. And if you don't have a system, you're the system. Okay? There are 4 levels of value. Implementation. Now, here's what blows my mind. You ready for this? If you've ever felt that glass ceiling, it's because you've been stuck in the level of value of implementation. The cap for most people on implementation as your level of value is between 40 and 80K per year. So if you keep feeling like you're bumping your head on the glass ceiling, that's why, because you're stuck in implementation. To be clear, you can still do the work, but there's a specific way to set it up so that you are more leveraged. The systems are all supporting you until you can hire the team to support you. Who here needed that aha right here? The systems are what support you until you're ready to hire the team to support you. I did not hire much team. I think I just hired like a VA for a couple hours a week until I hit something crazy. I think it was like $13,000 a month. Might have even been $26,000 a month. It's crazy. Because systems will save you that time, money, and energy, right? All right. We have 2 more levels. Those levels are, I actually can't remember which order they're in right now, which is a sign I need coffee. But communication and unification are what get us to those next levels. That means working with systems. That means becoming a leader. That means growing, doing something new, trying a new path, thinking like an entrepreneur and business owner instead of I'm just a freelancer, because just a freelancer is going to cap you out over and over and over and over again. You are not just a freelancer. Did you hear me loud and clear on that? You are not just a freelancer. You are a 6-figure freelancer. Drop it in the chat because we're going to claim this new identity today. Who's feeling the shift? Who feels that energy? I get so passionate about this because freelancers, you guys get treated the worst. We get treated the worst, right? And we don't get enough credit and no one talks to us at conferences, right? So I'm really passionate about teaching and supporting freelancers to scale to 6 figures and then 7, but first 6. Because here's a big hint. You got to first claim the identity of being a 6-figure person before you can step into the identity of being a 7-figure person, before you can step into the identity of being an 8-figure person. So if you're sitting here being like, I'm just going to say I'm a billionaire, well, you got to like build your mindset and your subconscious up to it. All right. I want to see this in the chat. We should see 65. I want you guys to claim this new identity. At the top level of value, we have imagination. This is the Steve Jobs, the Disneys of this world. They've stepped purely into imagination. The Henry Fords, when people asked for faster horses, he said, how about we try something different? I'm only seeing a couple of people say it. I know it's hard to like type out, but I want to see you guys say it. I'm a six-figure freelancer. I claim this new identity. I want you guys to say, it's my turn. I'm next. I'm next. I've watched Rachel for months or years, and it's my turn. Because the truth is, you guys, I can't serve everyone in the market, and I don't want to. Pretty cool, right? There's 26 million millionaires in just the United States alone. There's more than enough to go around. All right? We need to step into these spots here. And this is done with a system. This is what changes everything. We need to step into communication, unification, and imagination. But most of us are stuck in implementation and without the right system, specifically designed for freelancers to grow and scale without having to work 80 hours per week. You know what's going to happen? You're going to be stuck in implementation because you are the system forever. Let's do it again. I'm next. It's my turn. I'm a six-figure freelancer. Drop them in the chat. Now here's we all have at any time kind of like two different versions of who we can be or who we can choose to be, okay? We've got, I'm going to just use my name as an example. We got Broke Rachel. Broke Rachel thinks working more is the answer. Broke Rachel thinks that she can't afford to invest because all she can think about is the next paycheck, the next bill. Broke Rachel is scared. Broke Rachel doesn't like to take on risk. Broke Rachel cares about safety, security, but not a lot of it, just enough to barely get by and survive. Broke Rachel certainly doesn't show up on video because it's a risk. Broke Rachel hangs out with people who don't get that she has different dreams. Broke Rachel doesn't have anyone guiding her or leading her. Broke Rachel kind of feels like a little dinghy in the middle of the ocean with no lights or no stars, okay? What does your broke look like? Lisa, Caroline, Brittany, San, what does that look like? Because this has been so helpful for me, and you guys can share that in the chat. Scared, scarce, jealous. I'm actually going to put safe, but not the good kind of safe. No taking risks. Okay, but six-figure Rachel. 1 year after we started this business, six-figure Rachel got resourceful. She took risks. She invested in herself. She followed guidance from mentors she trusted. In fact, I just met with my mentor this week. He's been my mentor for 5 years. And when I first went to Funnel Hacking Live, I was like, I'm going to join the inner circle. And we didn't have savings or any room on our credit card. And so it was $30,000 to join his inner circle back then. Today it's $50,000. I'm in his $150,000 per year program, which is amazing. But I knew that I needed to shift my identity, and I needed systems, support, accountability, and coaching. Because just like in Inception, when the dream is crumbling around them, and then I won't say this like because it sounds like violence, but something really, really tragic happens in the dream. Your subconscious, your set point, what you are conditioned to experience will always take over if you are not surrounded by people who remind you not who you want to be, but who you are. Who you are. You are a six-figure freelancer. We don't have time to be scared. We don't have time to be scarce. We don't have the energy for jealousy. We're not going to play it safe because we played it safe our whole lives. And where has that gotten us? To all our dreams? The breakthroughs we want? I don't think so. We are going to take risks. This broke Rachel takes no risks. Six-figure Rachel takes risks. So when you surround yourself with a network, with a mastermind who sees you for who this identity is, they can remind you when you forget. When you work with a mentor who really truly believes and sees you with this lens, they can hype you up. They can remind you. They can support you. I don't know about you, but I'm going to choose six-figure Rachel every single time. And then down the road, I chose seven figures. So the cost of Russell's mentorship program was $30,000 and we didn't have it. And so I actually found a way to get paying capital. So it's like factoring. So they like lent it to me and I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just literally going to do this. And I don't know if you guys have ever been at that point, but I was like, nothing changes if nothing changes. Something has to change. And what happened is, first, I really and truly became this person on a new level, an entity shift, and truly believing it. But then I became seven-figure Rachel. And now I'm learning how to I'm choosing to be eight-figure Rachel. Okay, who's getting these ahas? Pretty intense, right? It's so powerful. You have permission to step into the new identity. Okay, so we covered a lot. Is anyone feeling anxious, excited, maybe a little overwhelmed, a little bit triggered, maybe tired? Who here got some surprising ahas? Like you didn't get what you expected you would get today. You thought I was just going to be like, use these hashtags, etc., or whatever. And you're like, dude, this is a fundamental shift in everything. Who has this feeling that this could be the start of something changing forever? Like it's your turn, okay? There is so much more I want to cover and support with you guys. I have a question for you. Would it be okay if I made you an offer? And if you can't join, I will still absolutely value you. Okay? Beautiful. All right. I created the social click for you. The social click is for freelancers who want to grow to six figures without working 80 plus hours per week. Because the truth is, you guys, I've worked with so many freelancers at this point, and I've been a freelancer for so long. I've discovered, identified, found the patterns, and created systems and solutions for all of the problems you experience. If you're working 80 hours a week, if clients are reaching you nonstop, if it feels like it's running your life, I created the Business by Design so that you can experience peace and work on your own terms. Business by Design is a part of the social click. I created mentorship and coaching. So if you ever forget who you are surrounded by a mastermind and a mentor plus coaches who will remind you so you don't go down the slippery path of doubt. In fact, we have not only mentorship, but also coaches inside of the Social Click, which is a program specifically designed to help freelancers grow to six figures. And then seven, we have a lot of people on the journey to seven and a couple there. What's really powerful is all of our coaches have run six-figure freelancing businesses, and two of them still do, which is so powerful. You are invited to apply. We created every single thing that you need to support you in getting to that next level. If you are the system and you're tired of being the system and you need to implement a change, we created 100K systems. So there's a system for everything from attracting clients to firing clients to hiring team to firing team to building systems. Every single system you need to make your time and your life easier and set you up to scale is inside of 100K systems. The 100K toolkit. Who here would like to know how to systematically attract clients without begging, convincing, chasing, discounting, all of the above? The 100K toolkit is filled with tools that are proven, the exact tools that I use to attract clients. So you can find the ones that you like the best and implement them and literally be able to say, I know where my next clients are coming from. This is so exciting. I see those leads coming in. I see the applications. But who here says, I'm nervous that we end this training together? We've had fun hanging out, but I'm nervous because I've done this before. I've watched a training. I've gotten excited, motivated. I experienced that growth and I swore to myself it wasn't going to stop. But within a couple days or a week, the momentum wore off. I started to doubt. I forgot who I was. I didn't remember everything I just learned. It felt like a distant memory. Who here is a little nervous about that? Or maybe you've done that before. You've spent time with me on trainings and it lasts for a little bit, but it becomes a blip on the radar. We created a private mindset podcast so that you can literally binge mindset from me every single day. You can listen to them while you're walking on the treadmill. You can listen to them when you are struggling with a particular situation. And we named most of them according to what you're going through. So when everything seems too hard, when a client's mad at you, when you make a mistake, so you can literally find exactly what you need in each and every one of those podcasts. I think there's 160 podcasts available for binging, but that's a private podcast only for Click members. Let me guess, you might have something come up. You might have a bad day. You might lose a client. That's why we have Click Assemble, where the Click shows up, represents you, supports you, gets you in front of opportunities, intros you to their clients, me included, and supports you with getting you out of a rut. By the way, who here is already like, okay, I want all of this? And we have the best and safest community of freelancers, all building their 6 and 7 figure businesses so that you can be surrounded by the momentum of freelancers with a growth mentality. But wait a second. Should I do the cheesy? There's more. If you struggle with getting those leads and those opportunities in, at least at first, we have a matchmaking program. I generate too many leads for me to sign every single week, every single day, if I'm being honest. So almost every single day, we drop leads in the Click for whoever's around to go ahead and claim those leads. And in fact, Genevieve, who joined, I want to say 4 months ago, she joined the social Click. She joined and she got a huge portion of her clients directly from the leads that we provide. And she's now at 20, almost a 20K month. Pretty powerful, right? But not only that, it's the place where I take you under my wing and show you a sneak peek behind the curtain of 2 7-figure businesses so that you can see what it looks like and recognize that it's actually possible for you and that you also deserve it. Oh my goodness, you guys. So we have a lot inside of the social Click, and I'll drop it one more time for you guys so that you can book a call with my team. My team will support you. They'll help you out. They'll help you make a good decision. They're not based on high pressure or anything like that. But if the path that you've been going down has not been leading to the results that you want, you have 2 choices today. So you can keep going down that path and hope that this training gives you the momentum to get something new. But there's a pretty good chance it's time for you to step into that 6-figure person identity, that 6-figure Aaliyah, that 6-figure Sand, that 6-figure Sherry, that 6-figure Nick, that 6-figure William. It's maybe time for you to step into that identity and not make decisions based on what you've always done, but rather based on what that version, that identity of yourself would do. And I want to root for you every single step of the way. I want to support you inside of the social click. So go to clickforlife.com. Please feel free to set up a call with my team. They're amazing. And show up for your call. That's a key, by the way. It's one of the biggest keys to success is just showing up, which is pretty wild. And you guys, I cannot wait to see you inside of the social click. I hope that this was a jump start for you on this beautiful Saturday, and I will catch you guys later. Bye for now, everybody. Oh, wait, hold on. I have a free gift. You ready for it? I didn't forget. I'm so glad. I almost forgot. But I have a rule. Like if I promise something, I will always deliver. So I write down every promise I make so that I never, ever, ever have good intentions and forget. So there we go. There we go. There's a bonus for staying until the end. I'm pretty sure this is a training from, I think this is a training from, I want to say either the Clicker one I recorded specially. I'm actually not 100% sure which one this is. Oh, wait, yes, it is. Okay, there's gold inside of there. There we go. All right, you guys. I will see you all later. Go have such a good weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. And I'll see some of you guys inside of the social click. It's going to be a ramped up couple of weeks because I am about to build our agency to $6 to $12 million per year, and Click gets an inside look. And I'm so excited about this. I will catch you guys later. Bye for now, friends. We'll talk soon.